Hi, this is Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, here to fix you and help you grow your property and your business affairs to the next level. So if you're looking for knowledge and insights about how to get involved in property, solve your problems about scalability in your property business, then do watch our 20-minute clips. We've taken them from hundreds and thousands of videos that we've taken over the last 6 months, and we've broken them into simple chunks which can make them useful for you. So do watch and do subscribe to our YouTube channel underneath as well.
Or happiness, not materialistic, not wants, but desires, just the personal space. I don't want to be watching Lucky in the toilet with a camera on him. I don't want to be making sure I've got a biometric scanner on his toilet door. Me? Isn't it the case though, Jesse? Isn't it they're just trying to push it too far, and they're just crunching in to your right to have your own opinion on what you think is right and wrong to do?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's very difficult. It's a very hard balance with the restrictions that we've been given and the mental health side of things. Obviously, you mentioned that last week, but it's such a fine line. I know there's many people that are still, shielding, and essentially they've nearly been shielding for a whole year. So they've really not been out very, very much, or they've not really seen anybody, and that's really affecting mental health. As I said, I do get out for a walk as much as I can. And I try and go, obviously for me, it's easier because I'm in quite a remote area to go out for walks and maybe see only one other person for a whole hour's walk. But that's very difficult when you're in a busy, bustling area that obviously is slightly quieter, but you are still seeing more people around. I think that it is our right to do kind of what we want to, but actually we need to start thinking more about the impact that this is having on the whole country. It's not just, for me now personally, it's not just numbers that's coming up on the TV each day, on the news reports. It's names of people I know that are suffering with this, or extended friends of family that have passed away from this.
Yeah, I think I get that point, Jesse. That is, I think, the issue, that now it's people we know, and the reality of the effects of it is hitting us. But maybe to a certain crowd, a certain group of people, they still don't think those people, those names are relevant because they are not in their circle. I don't know how people think as a crowd. Lucky, you tell me, what do you think on this topic? I understand what Jesse's saying, but you're in the city, you're in the heart of it, you're in the belly of the beast, as I sometimes say, or probably a place lower down. What do you say?
What's the specific question? So you're trying to work out whether people should be going out, or what?
No, the limit of control. There seems to be an overwhelming desire to control. How can you control someone's desire, or someone's need, or someone's want? How can you do it when it's about basic things? It's not like you're walking around with marijuana or something and you want to smoke weed, and they're saying, look, weed is illegal, you can't do that, and it's by law. This is you wanting to go out for a walk, and they're saying you can only go out for a walk 1 hour a day. What if you need 3 hours? How are they going to do that? And then they're gonna check your mobile phone, and you have been out for more than 3 hours. How do you distinguish between that which is reasonable and that which is overbearing? A bit like a nanny state. I think the word you used a few weeks ago, a nanny state. How can a nanny and a state make sense? How can a state be a nanny?
I mean, to be honest,
as a group of people, are we just too passive? Do we just let government dictate so much to us that now they're going to dictate. The only thing they're not dictating is when you go to the toilet, isn't it? Really, everything else they're dictating. So is it now that they've really sort of like narrowed it down to can't go out more than an hour? And how are they going to supervise it? How are they going to? Are they going to check your mobile phone and say, right?
There's a couple of important points. I think between my personal opinion on it is, if we're trying to limit spread of something, and if you're leaving people to stay at home as long as possible locked up, they're going to have lower immune systems. They're more likely to be catching it when they go out because they're not really getting enough fresh air. Their immune system's a lot lower, so
yes,
they're more likely to catch it. Yeah, well,
I mean, that's a clever counter argument to people saying you're going to be locked up.
Yeah, I mean, so and that's number one. And the thing is, if you allowed them to get out, but said to them that they're going to limit the amount of time they spend in an enclosed environment with other people, such as in a shop or something, and that makes more sense because then you're sort of reducing the chances of them catching something. But allowing them to go out and actually exercise the fresh air, it's unlikely that they're going to catch something in a park. And at the moment, even with the lockdown, the parks aren't necessarily super crazy busy. It's not packed. So, the chances of you catching something in the outside is actually very low.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what you're saying, but people are saying no, it's higher. They're saying it's airborne. They're saying it's surface borne. It's everything borne. The only thing it's not Jason Bourne.
Mm.
What do you say, Jessica? Is it Jason Bourne, or do you think it's everything but Jason Bourne? Do you know who Jason Bourne is?
I do. I think it is everything but Jason Bourne. I think that we just have to be so much more careful now that there's this second strain or second wave or what have you that they're calling it, and we just need to be really careful. I think can taken into consideration if you are going out is just be aware. I mean, obviously, we're told to wear our masks all the time, whether we're in like a supermarket. But actually, as soon as I see people come out of the supermarket, they're taking it straight off as soon as they get out the door. Wait until you're in your car or something like that, because if it is airborne, which you're saying, and reports are saying that so many more people are getting it, we just have to be a little bit more conscious at protecting ourselves and our families.
I think, what I think? I think, had they been very aggressive in the first instance, they may have had a better result. And I think last week as well, they've got access to all the archives: Spanish flu, influenza, Ebola, bird flu, all of these X-flus and X-viruses. They know how to handle groups of people. They should have been very clear about how to handle it and how to get the results. I can't see for the life of me why they've, been pussyfooting around, excuse my feet, but pussyfooting around about it for 1 year and then going in for a second series of the same. Doesn't make sense. But anyhow, even if it doesn't make sense, tell me, Lakhi, what type of challenges can you set yourself? What type of challenges are you going to set yourself while you're in lockdown, with all your business activities, with all your big deals that you handle, the big deals that are like a big pair of boots that you walk around in? How do you set your challenges then? How do you get to complete that stuff? Obviously, Lakhi Singh is frozen, I think. Is he frozen? Is he not? He's talking, but we can't hear you, Lakhi Singh. We can't hear you. I think you've muted yourself. Jessie, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but I can't hear Lakhi.
Let me and you have a tay on tay, we will ignore the big man until he comes back from the Right, Jessie, tell me then. Tell me a challenge that you think you're going to set yourself.
Challenge for this year or for the okay? So
challenge this year. You're going to set yourself, and it's like pushing yourself. It's actually, setting a goal for yourself, which is more than you can do.
One of my biggest challenges this year is an extension of what I've been working on for the over last year, which is to be able to work with investors and care providers and help provide more housing for those who really need it most. I think Lakhi touched on that previously, which was, we're seeing so many more people either coming out of jobs, they don't have a job anymore, they're struggling with mortgage payments and things like that, that there's going to be a lot more requirement for social housing, for care housing, what have you, emergency housing. So for me, my kind of main goal of the year is to be able to provide as many houses as we can to support those who really need it most, for sure.
Excellent. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear
you. Yes, we can hear you.
The funny thing is that as soon as I stopped the car and parked outside the office, then that's when it stopped working. How weird is that?
That's funny. Weird. I think you're probably the Jason Bourne of the fixer world. You've probably got lots of different IDs and SIMs and all that. You keep changing them and or putting a beard on and wearing a face mask and all that.
I've got 3 passports.
Interesting questions come up. Yeah, exactly. So Jessie mentioned last time, and she's a wonderful. I think she's like everyone else we know. We're very blessed to have very positive, very upbeat, and very energetic people. People who transmit positivity. She was talking about the fallout of people losing their jobs and helping local authorities and housing authorities and XYZ and isn't this a sign that we're already so used to the nanny state that we don't know what to do when we lose our job? Isn't that a sign anyway of the times that we're already so vulnerable to government and the system that we have mental fallouts and mental breakdowns when we lose our jobs because we just don't know anything else? Isn't that a sign that we're already half a part of a system that we don't have anything? It's a bit like the Matrix, I think. Sounds like the Matrix. Isn't that where we're at? Isn't that what it shows?
I think we definitely are. I think the challenge we need to set ourselves is to be now escape the system somehow. So if you can go back to the basics, which is maybe get yourself a little cabbage patch and start growing your own food, because what if there's no food? Second is, you may want to actually sell your multi-million-pound house and just get something a lot smaller. So you don't need to be working. So I think setting us a challenge for complete freedom from the system actually probably makes a lot of sense, because you don't really know what's around the corner. So any money that you got in the bank might actually get seized if we go into some sort of emergency lockdown. They could say, okay, well, give us 80% of all the money that's actually anybody's got more than £300,000 in their bank account, because we're struggling as a country. So what are you going to do?
Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense. What you're saying is it could potentially, it's a bit damning, it's going to be a bit scary. But, if they did do that, what would you do? So my question is half answered there. Jessie, I'm going to ask you the same question. Isn't that inadvertently half an admission that we're already subject to the Matrix?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. We're all in, as we keep hearing the same saying, we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same storm. And I quite rightly say, yeah, we are. We're in the same storm. We're not in the same boat. People have different situations going on where, you know, like we've said, you could be at risk of losing your job, but what do you do then? How do you go out and make that change if you're not kind of open-minded like that and you've always only known one thing? How do you open up your mind to go and chase and do other things? I think obviously all as entrepreneurs on the group, what have you, we have that ability, or we have that capability in some way or another, but others don't have that. So it's being able to support those who don't have that vision, that they can make a positive change for themselves if they find themselves without a job or being stuck with paying rent. There are things that can be done. It's just being able to understand that and utilize, you know, people around you, for sure.
Yeah, but Lucky just said, maybe this is about going back to baby shoes, but, you know, putting a bone through his nose, wearing this leopard skin, and walking around with a bow and arrow and trying to shoot anything that doesn't look like a human, obviously, that he could potentially, you know, instead of doing roadkill, goes back to bow and arrow, goes back to the old days with a spear, walks around with a club, you know, looking for potential brides, and also looking for a spot of meat to eat. What do you reckon, Jesse? Did you see Lucky walking around with a skin leopard on, and you know, with a bow and arrow in his hand, going back to the basics? Can you imagine that? Seeing Lucky in one of the trees, looking down with a bow and arrow and a spear, and
I think we could. I think we could go back to basics. I think there's a lot of us and a lot of, you know, people throughout the UK that take ease and convenience as an advantage. There's obviously a lot of things that we can do, like we can grow vegetables, we can, you know, take things a little bit more simpler than we do now. We've, you know, certainly been, I don't know whether conditioned is the right word, but we have everything as a convenience. Things can be done day.
So if you were a vegetable, what would you grow then? What would you grow if you had the option, like Jesse says, of growing a vegetable? What are you going to grow in your back garden?
I'd grow carrots and spinach and
spinach,
potatoes.
Or would you be growing it out of? Would you be growing it out of a Wakefield's bag or Marks and Spencer's bag? Putting it in a plastic bag and put it in the garden? Can you see yourself growing things out of a Waitrose bag, Jessica?
I'm not sure growing out of a bag would be the right option. Yeah, we would be growing things for sure. That's, you know, we live in the country, as I said before. It's, you know, we've grown up doing things like that. You know, my grandparents still every year grow beans and carrots and potatoes, and it's something that I've encouraged my son to do a little bit of as well. I'm not the best at looking after the plants once they're planted.
I think you're lucky. I think you're lucky. You're in a part of the world that has a mix of both. So you've got the lovely forest, you've got greenery around you. I'm sure your house has probably got a lovely little few acreages in the back where you can plug in a few carrots. Well, look, we're nearly at the end of the show. Lucky, the question is, do we go back to basics? Can we go back to basics? Is it not indirectly a sign of the times that we are so plugged into the system, we're so dependent upon the system to pay us because we've been paying into the system? So there's a bit of a catch-22 there. It's not like we're only there asking for the system to take care of us. We put money into the system, but the system is telling you now, we are no longer in a position to pay you out. I don't care if you've been paying me for the last 30, 40, 60 years, or in Lucky's case, in the last 80 years. I don't care. The bottom line is, we are going into difficult times, and I need you to pull your weight and get through the storm. What do you say to that, Lucky? Should the system take care of you, or should you be taking care of? Should you really be going back to basics? Can I see you running around the high street challenging other men for a chicken and chips?
Well, that might be a bit extreme, trying to take somebody else's chicken. But what I would say is, I think this is a time for reflection, and then reflection and readjustment. So I think everybody's going to be thinking, if everything got cut off around me, what is it that I need to be doing? Should I be thinking about emigrating to a different country where the system is, you don't need the system. You can actually live. If you lived in somewhere like Thailand, the cost of living is really cheap. So if you lived in a small hut, it'd be so hot around here, you don't need that much heating. So you could probably get away with actually.
Right, very, very well said. Look, I think with that, it's probably an indicator you're tired. So the way to save on heating bills is to move to Indonesia, or was it Thailand, so you don't have to worry about a heating bill. I like that one. Very good, Lakhi Singh. Well, Jesse, I'm going to ask you the last question, okay? And obviously, I don't want you to go down to Thailand just to save on heating bills and living in a. But what I do say, can you see yourself?
Jesse's bought into the idea. She likes it. She likes the idea.
Okay, that's even better. Okay, Jesse, can you see yourself in Thailand wrestling with another woman, fighting over a chicken in the front yard? Can you see that?
I would hope not. Definitely. I would hope not. I think that we all need to come together as much as we can. I would hope not to have to wrestle for anything, to be honest.
Right. With that, Jesse, I'm sorry I can't hear you clearly, but I assume you've understood that we're not going to fight for food. We're all going to live happily ever after. We will get through this. As the world always does. Sorry for the bad cough today. I'm talking, trying to shout rather, because I'm trying to get my voice back. See everyone tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. The Alternative Business and Property Community Solutions with Lakhi Singh, the Property Fixer. See everyone tomorrow. Take care. Love you. Leave you. Sorry, I'll leave you with a message. Sorry about that. Last message from Deborah Sophie as well. She said hi to everyone. Take care. See you tomorrow.
Bye.